All right, back out here on the El Tigre. Wait for the UTV race to start here. So I don't know if I mentioned it before in other videos, but this fuel line here, so you can kind of see that, and it'll be hard to show. It was collapsed. This is a new fuel line I put in the tank, the pickup hose. I got that new fitting. Going to throw that on. Actually going to run the original fuel line. Not sure why that hose was collapsed, it was twisted. This thing feels, just feeling it, doesn't feel brittle, but it definitely has more resistance than this other, I'm assuming that's, Chinese fuel line. And I don't know when that fuel line might, that could be original, could be something somebody replaced in the 90s, early 2000s, don't know. It was last registered early 2000s, but it seems like a better quality. So yeah, put that fitting on, I'm gonna get this tank on. All right, got that stitched up with some zip ties. Stop drilled the hole there where it was a crack. Also there. But yeah, tank's on, in, some fuel in there. I'm gonna throw the seat on now. All right, back out here on the El Tigre. Let's see what we got going on. All right, basically I cut the connector off with a plug running up to the handlebar switch, and threw it on his toggles, taped it up. Gonna put it either below or above that heated grip switch there. Take a look, dig in there and see exactly where I want to put that. All right, we got the hole in there, little Christmas tree bit. First order of hackery, get out the Christmas tree bit. Sure some of you are like, yeah, I don't know the Tiger. Well, this thing was just sitting in a farmer's barn. But yeah, waiting on the hammer's action to start. Out here messing around with this old thing, and let's get this switch plugged in and get the hood tossed on, and see if this headlight's gonna work. All right, got the switch in there. Gonna use the big washer. I'm gonna put a high and a low on there. This is a Sharpie, real high tech. Yeah, kind of just zip tied up the harnesses here, wiring. Left the throttle cable kind of out in the wind there, doing its own thing. Yeah, I broke one of the leads, spark plug lead off that temp gauge thing. Just gonna solder that back on, but I'll probably circle back around to that. Right now I just want to get the hood on there and check the headlight. And also I got to sit on it. I've never even sat on this thing before, but yeah. Working on something for a while here. Finally got to sit on it, and I got the seat on there. Probably just gonna do duct tape on that for now. Seat covers are pretty proud of them. They're on a table, one or the other. And I'm gonna check the hardware store for a circlip for that pin. When I get some tape and run down the zip ties too. All right, got the hood back on, headlight hooked up. I don't really like the cable, the hold open cable. Kind of see it's poking out there. It probably could be adjusted so it's not doing that, but I want to come up with something different. I don't like how far it swings open. So yeah, pull the pin out of that brake lever, go to the hardware store, get a circlip for that, look for some cable and some swedges, and need to get this mess cleaned up over here. There's some stuff I'm gonna leave out here, like the pilots and the mains, but that, and I'm gonna update that board of what I'm working on, or what's left. Yeah, dial the carb, swap the fuel shutoff and the fuel filter around. Those are in backwards. Not theirs in it. I want the other way around. The filter right after the tank, shutoff valve after the pump. I got them reversed. Just kind of how it went when I had that temp tank installed. Yeah, we got a little bit of snow left, so I'm gonna go get lunch and go to the hardware store and hopefully get this thing pulled out and at least run it down the driveway. Oh yeah, and on these free air parts, probably got one of them carbs for another project, but I got that fuel pump area belt, Y pipe, ignition coil, CDI box stator, crankcase, halves, lower halves. I got a good cylinder, piston, original bore, no head though, just the cylinder and the piston, the pin and bearing. Good stuff. Air box. Yeah, I think that's, recoil. So there's some good stuff left in this free air. If any of you guys are watching, got free air, need any of these parts, just drop a comment, and we'll figure something out. I don't need the stuff sitting on the shelf in my basement forever, that's for sure. Still a little rich. Headlights working, taillights working. Calling it a win for today. Finally got to ride it. We're just coming around the yard, but definitely gonna have to tweak the carb some more. All right, Thursday after about a little bit after lunch. Made a new hood cable, a couple swedges I got from the hardware store, and some cable. Definitely a lot better than. Seems like a lot better than what the original one was. Kind of see that, pretty small. I mean, it works, but I don't want anything happen to this hood, so I went with one there. But yeah, the fuel pump I noticed, it seems to be not put, I'm getting air in here, so I don't know if we got a pickup issue still or back to fuel pump issue. I might want to try this other pump again. I think I had better, the original pump was doing better. So I'm going to throw that in. I did do the, some of the parts I'd be selling, but I think I'm going to hang on to that, throw that in there. I did do a rebuild kit on that in one of the earlier videos. Run that T. Just curious to see how much better that puts out. Yeah, just out here messing around, watching a UTV race out in Johnson Valley. Picked up some Gorilla Tape for the seat yesterday, some zip ties. So yeah, I'm gonna throw some seat on the tape, get that wet cardboard from out from under there, get it back on the dollies. Got that table put away, that was really annoying me. So yeah, I kind of moved one mess over to here. Probably gonna get some clip, like a clip to run a spare belt. Guess I gotta shove one in the trunk for now, but I kind of like to have one on the belt guard. Actually, both sleds, I kind of want to put a clip on the Yamaha Exciter in on this for carrying a belt. Anyhow, yeah, that's all I got for today. Put some tape on the seat, did that cable and the hood. Yeah, I'm going to dig on that fuel pump and switch the shut off around. Switch that over to over here where the filter is and tee that and see how that goes. All right, yeah, seat covers. It'd be nice to find one at a decent price for this sled. Maybe down the road here. For now, putting Gorilla Tape on it. I did 2 strips, kind of the 2 strips this way. Or actually 4 strips, but in that direction. Now I'm going to send some strips just this way. I'm using scissors now. Razor knife was kind of a cut and crappy. Not getting a straight cut. I've never used this Gorilla Tape before, so I'm not one to normally put duct tape on a seat either. Usually I just get a seat cover, but not a lot of options out there. Anyhow, I do got a new switch there coming, that kill switch. Found a new one of those on eBay, so that's on the way. I have a new chain case gasket, and also a new O-ring for the bearing of the chain case. This thing, it's funny, it's not dripping now. chain case. I've noticed a few drips here and there, so I figure I'll pull that apart and see what we got going on there. Figured, hey, new cover gasket, might as well, my original. And the bearing gasket, that lower bearing might be trashed. Anyhow, I'll finish taping up this seat. Well, that came out about how I expected, looking like shit. Yeah, it'll keep the foam, I guess, from getting any worse than it may be in there. So come up with a better solution. But that's it for now. I know my kid mentioned sewing something on there, or maybe come up with some other patch of some sort. But for right now, there we go. Crappy tape. Here's the belt guard I got. That style there. Yeah, gonna drill some holes in the belt guard and get that mounted. All right. See in here, got a few drips come from the chain case there. That's the level plug. You can see the writing on there. Anyhow, I had ordered the gasket for the cover and O-ring for the bearing in there. Obviously that showed up. The bearing O-ring hasn't shown up yet, but yeah, I didn't notice it was leaking from there. Anyhow, I'll get the fluid drained out and change that stuff out anyway since I got it. Yeah, I just put the Honda transmission oil in it for I use my dirt bike. Kind of similar to ATF. But yeah, there was no drips on that towel. So I'm going to drain that and install that belt guard. All right, we got the exhaust pipe out. Got the cover off. Just letting it drain. Here's the original gasket. It's probably still good, but I'll give that one here, throw the new one in. I mentioned belt guard earlier. I meant the belt clip to put on the guard. I don't think there'll be any interference here. I'm gonna shut it down here. Take a peek in here. Grab a flashlight. Yeah, see in there or not, there's plenty of room for a belt to ride on there. Figured there would be, but figured I'd double check. I'm gonna get some drill bits and drill a couple holes in that belt guard for that clip or belt holder. All right, progress is progress. Not a lot, but got that fuel pump swapped around. Got the shut off there. Got the filter there. Kind of got it tied off there so it doesn't rub on the pull cord. But I'm gonna go check the mailbox for this O-ring for this bottom sprocket. Hopefully that fuel pump works out better than that eBay one. It seemed like it was leaking from the body. It was kind of weird. I'm pretty sure I tightened these screws on the top too with no luck. So yeah, I may disassemble that later to see what I got going on. But for right now, the old pump's got a rebuild kit in it. So I'm gonna run that. That's it for today. Off to work. All right, I drained that drain pan into this with a funnel. Looks like it's a little under 8 ounces. I think that's what they were calling for in the book. My O-ring finally showed up for the bearing. And, this thing's dripped a little bit. And it's still got a little bit of oil in there. I'm gonna take the springs off there, those cotter pins and that spring, and throw a straight edge up on there just to see what the gear offset is. There's a measurement here in the book somewhere. I'll finger through that once I get that apart. See what that's supposed to be at before I see where it's sitting at before I pull it apart. All right, threw a straight edge on here. This thing's out pretty far. The topper sprocket needs shimmed out. I'm gonna try to see here. S angle the dangle. All right, that's a pretty good size gap. That's pressing down on the bottom sprocket on both sides. And that's pretty big. The book calls for 30 thousandths. It's a lot more than 30 thousandths. I mean, you can manipulate it probably if you're just not pressing on the bottom, but that to me defeats the purpose. You're supposed to, I would say, even though that picture shows differently, you know, I would say it's supposed to push all the way down on the ruler, all the way against the bottom of the sprocket, which, as you can see, is a huge gap. It's by pushing down on this straight edge all the way against the bottom sprocket. So that's going to be a pretty thick shim, more like a washer. And this bent looking pin leads me to believe somebody's in here before versus it having a cotter pin, so maybe a washer got left out. They're changing a bad bearing or something, who knows. Yeah, I'm going to pull the bolt off that top sprocket and see what's behind there. I already took the bottom one off. Don't believe there was anything behind there. Take a look at that real quick too, because I got to do that O-ring in there anyhow. All right, so I pulled the top sprocket off. There's a shim there, and like I said, it looked like somebody's in here before, and these guides, or tensioners, I guess, not really rollers, more like a tensioner, show quite a bit of wear on that side, and this side I got a little bit of wear, so I think somebody was in here and they flipped them. They flipped them over, get a little more out of them, get a little more tension on the chain. This doesn't have an adjuster. Like my ZRT 96, there's an adjuster, you know, I'm not, no adjuster on this job. As soon as I look that chain over, the sprocket, the top sprocket, you know, I don't know how crazy I can go with the shimming, because get on there. Come on. That's not keyed. Come on. There we go. That, you know, shim that too far out, and won't be a whole lot of engagement. I mean, there still would be plenty, I'm thinking, with a few more shims, probably about like that. I'll look at the chain, see how the chain's doing. Might not want to shim this out too far. Maybe just a couple of little ones in there. Unless those spacers are different, got switched around. That's a possibility. Oh no, that wouldn't happen. Those were different size shafts. Never mind. Yeah. See how the bearing's looking here. Looking pretty good. I don't think that O-ring's bad on there. I think I'm pretty sure it was my drain plug, but the drain fill indication plug, I guess. Yeah, it's a fill port. Yeah, I think it was leaking from there. But since I'm in here, I'll do that O-ring. Got a new gasket for the outer case there. It's kind of a little bit in a funny shape from shipping, so I kind of got to massage that. But yeah, I want to see what I can come up with for shims and play with this, see what I can get out of it, see how, I don't want to walk that sprocket too far off that shaft, but get a little bit closer to what it should be. All right, back on the El Tigre here for a few minutes before heading off to work. That came in, see a kill switch. Still haven't received the O-ring for the bearing in the chain case, so kind of on a standstill on that. Don't know where that's at. I don't think the post office does either. So yeah, I'm gonna install that clip for the spare belt on the belt guard here real quick. All right, got the clip installed for the spare belt. That was a belt that was on the original Free Air. It's a little chewed up, but probably get you out of the woods. Here's a new belt, same size. It was in the trunk, so it's kind of got a perma curve going. But yeah, these belts are a little tight on there. I do have my spare belt for my exciter still on here. And when I dig into that chain case, I'm going to put this one on. This is the new belt. Anyhow, when I filled it up with fluid last time, chain case that is, I just filled up the top plug, and there was that drain plug on the bottom. Kind of curious to see how much fluid I had in there going off of this plug here. That's what I used. The level check plug. Because what I was reading online was about 8 ounces they take. I'm just going to got my Maxima quick mix cup. Going to see what actually was in there. Of course, I don't have my glasses on. It's above 7 ounces. So it was leaking a little. I don't think it leaked that much, though. Still some in the pan. Anyhow, just kind of out here screwing around for heading to work. That's all I got for today. Got to get going. All right. Looking at the inspection stuff here, you know. This is for like a 78 shop manual. It's pretty much the same. That's what I'm seeing in my ZRT book. You know, shim is necessary. Where'd I go? Anyhow, ZRT book called for shimming the top sprocket. That's kind of where I'd be at with this setup. How I got it going right now. I'm gonna throw the chain up here on the bench and take a look. General condition. See what this when I drive to work last night, just for shits and grins. I flipped that bottom sprocket around. I don't even have the top shim in on the top sprocket, but it's let's see here. There's a gap. Still, you can see that or not? Probably not. Anyhow. Think about that driving to work last night. I flopped that around, but it's still the same scenario. So I'm gonna pull that apart, do that O-ring while I'm in there. I'm about to run to the store, get some shims. I couldn't find nothing yesterday around here. All right, got her cleaned up in there. New O-ring down there. Yeah, this thing was flat as a pancake. That still wasn't, you know, we weren't getting a leak from there. I think we were to be getting a leak. It'd probably be the seal on the bearing that's on the other side. The leak was coming from not the fill plug, but not even a drain plug. It's a plug that says, hey, it's a, oh God, brain fart. You could fill it from that plug, I guess, yeah. But actually, the stickers say fill plug's the top. Bottom plug, they say that's your, you know, your capacity plug, I guess you'd call it. Once it starts coming out of there, you're at capacity. But it's with the exhaust on and all that, it's definitely easier to get to the top plug. Anyhow, I think I'm going to try shimming this bottom bearing, or not bottom sprocket. With that sprocket flipped around, I don't think it's going to require as thick as a shim if I was to shim the top sprocket. So I'm going to, these are different shafts. I might actually have something around here that size to fit on the bottom shaft. All right, so the top one doesn't have the shim in there, which it was shimmed earlier. I flipped that bottom one around. I couldn't find anything to shim the bottom one with. I'm gonna tighten up the top one and throw the straight edge on there and see what we need and run to the store. And yeah, I'm thinking that bottom one can get shimmed out a little bit. The gap wasn't as big. I found a few things here, but I actually found an old shim for, I think it's for a ZRT for the engine mount. But yeah, nothing, no bueno. There was that thing, which is monstrous. It's actually too thick and just all around too big for the bottom one. But yeah, gonna tighten up the top one. Look at the torque real quick. Get after that. All right, got back from the hardware store. You can see that lower sprocket's out a little bit more. Jeez, trying to get yeah, it only took one shim. We're good. Oh, thing's flipping around on me. I don't think I'll be able to get the angle where you can see the eye or whatever, the level float. But yeah, one shim, yeah, 85 cents. Hardware store down the street's got pretty much all the stuff you need, all the odd stuff. You ain't getting that at Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the chain on, or they get the chain on. I get those torque. I think the torque was like, wasn't much. What did it say? Check alignment. So it is 16 to 18 foot-pounds. All right, got the bolts torqued up. He went actually did 20 foot-pounds. Anyhow, yeah, the seal's kind of messing with me in this one corner here, but seems to be staying in place and everywhere else. So I'm gonna very carefully put the cover on. Keep this corner oriented over here. This gasket came wadded up in a plastic bag, you know, off eBay. You know, they probably been sitting off on a shelf for who knows how long. All right, let me get the cover on. All right, cover on. Ran those in, you know, little by little, even this is snug. Yeah, I use one of these garden sprayers for training fluid on cars and, well, crap like this. So let me get a towel or a rag. I also use that on the pipe threads on that plug. I got another plug there that goes in that overfill plug on the bottom here, which parts catalog shows something different, but this is what we got. So this is what we're working with. So yeah, get this thing pumped up and get some fluid flowing into there. And pumping away. Yeah, I think it would have filled it by now. Nothing coming out yet. Two more pumps, huh? Pretty sure it doesn't have enough pressure on it. Alright, it's flowing out. Took a little longer than I thought. Had to give it a few more pumps. We'll let that drain out there like that, let it drain off, and swing back over to this plug over here. It's not sure if it's original or not. Pretty sure I put that O-ring on there and that washer. I'm gonna put a little bit of this pipe dope on there just for the hell of it. All right. I've tried, you know, Q-tipping that and whatnot. I'm just gonna let her do her thing overnight, and then I'm gonna stick that plug in. Yeah. Anyhow, enough. Let's see here. Maybe I got a little story. Yeah, story time. Chain case story time. Not on this sled, obviously, but this goes back to, this is a while back. I think in 08. Yeah, maybe 08. We'll say winter 08. I was in my first house up in Alaska. I had a F7 I was working on, getting dialed in, and so anyhow, I had a spare sled with an 01 800 Mountain Cat. I can't remember, it was 151 or something. Fuel injected. Anyhow, buddy had picked up an '05 Vector Yamaha 4-stroker. Another guy was riding, I think he was still riding an old ZRT chassis Mountain Cat. Anyhow, we're up at Hatcher's Pass, and the one dude had that Vector for a while, and he was having trouble keeping up with my F7, and the other dude that was on his Zert long track. So he decided after the year before he chasing us, he's a leftover model, he got it like winter of '05, '06, and it was like, it had to be winter of '07 or '08. I had that Mountain Cat, maybe it was '08 or '09. Either way, we're out at Hatcher's Pass. He did some gearing swapping. Had his chain tensioner maxed out, which we didn't know anything about it. Anyhow, we were coming back down a climb we were doing, messing around, and he hit his brakes, and he all of a sudden his chain jumped off. It wadded up into the chain case, and locked up there, and he kind of did a little skid deal or whatever, and we were like, "What's up?" And he said, "I don't know what happened." So we pull his chain case cover off, and said, "Oh yeah, this is junk. It was a mess." So now he's, his chain case is broke. We're out in the hills, and out in Hatcher's Pass, aka Thrasher's Pass. So we end up riding this thing back to the parking lot. We tow him. I towed him quite a ways, my 800, and then we did the chain gang down the hill to the parking lot because it was hard packed trail, and that was interesting. The ZRT was in the back as the brakes, and I was tugging the Vector in the middle between us with the 800. Yeah. So this doesn't have a chain adjuster on it, but anyhow, like the ZRTs do, newer versions of sleds do, they got those chain adjusters, and this thing tension seemed good on it, but yeah, pay attention if your chain's worn out. When I looked over this thing, it seemed good. The links and everything seemed decent, even though it was shimmed a little wrong. I was kind of maybe concerned the chain might have got a little tweak, but it seemed good. But yeah, I'm gonna let that drain out. I guess it's enough for story time. And I'm gonna head off to work, come back out here in the morning, and stick that plug in. And might let it sit another day, see if it leaks any of that plug in, because that's where the leak was coming from, was that plug. Then I'll throw the pipe back on. But yeah, probably get it on this throttle switch here later in the week. This kill switch that came in, it's SPI. See how that goes. All right, chain case filled up with oil. So far, no drips under there. Let's pop the hood here and see what we got. Yeah, I'm not digging this tape on the windshield crack there. I was thinking about trimming the windshield down, but I think I might do I don't know, I gotta come up with something better than that. Anyhow, pop the hood open on this. All right. No evidence of any oil down there. I'm gonna put some of that ATF in there. Yeah. Hopefully we got that licked. Pipe's back on, obviously. That switch came in for the throttle, so I'm gonna take that handlebar cover off again. Dig into that switch. All right, handlebar cover's off. Still put the original zip ties there. That's just held on with those clips. There's another one, splits off, Yeah, I'll never change the switch out, so bear with me here. Stand by. So I'm gonna pop the carb off the cap, the cap off the carb, my bad. I'm gonna go after that clip on here, on this pin for the throttle, get that pin off, and start disassembling. I've never had this happen before. The clip, the circlip for the needle, it's not on there. I don't know if it came out when I was messing with this little cover there, flipping it upside down, but I'm going to pull the carb off. I don't see it in there. I'm going to look in the intake. And I looked around the belly here, I didn't see it. I'm assuming it just happened. That's pretty wild. All right, got throttle off. That little stir clip. Going to pull these 3 screws out. Looks like there's 3 screws in there. I'll get those out and disassemble that. All right, 3 screws are out. Looks like that slides apart. Pop that out. See what's going on with that piece there. There's like a cable built into that switch. All right, got that piece pulled back. Looks like that groove cable sits in a slot. That just pops out. This looks like it's not too bad. Just slides all together. So by ohming these switches out, they seem to ohm out the same. You extend that cable all the way, and it goes open. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. Yeah, mess a little bit more. Seem to be checking out okay. I wonder if that carb was adjusted wrong, but I'm pretty sure I had that spot on. All right, we got a few things we can take off the board there. Yeah, kill switch, chain case seal. Yeah, maybe even the seat cover. So yeah, we taped that, right? That's perfect now. Not really. Yeah, so got that back together. Threw the new belt on. We're kind of running out of time, so just gonna throw that belt in the trunk. Get the hood back down. I'll peel that tape off. I don't like that tape on the windshield. I'm gonna come up with something better for that. Maybe trim the windshield or just stitch it. Maybe try gluing it. Yeah, that's it for today. Take her easy. All right, I think this may be it for a little while. Got no snow here, so no snow even up in the UP. So yeah, here's where we are. Got a new switch on today. Did a stitch job on the windshield, came out terrible. Probably should have just left the packaging tape on there. Plenty of wire, pretty big holes, and using a brake cleaner on this definitely foobarred that windshield. Thought about cutting it, but I couldn't really. It had been pretty low, and I thought I cut that. It'd been a little bit higher than a dash. Yeah. So see how this thing runs probably here. Probably might be next winter. It's not looking good this year. Get a windshield coming and look for a seat cover, or at least a better repair than that tape. But anyhow, hope you enjoyed the shenanigans. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Have a good week.